I don't think any of us really expect our life to change when it does. One day you're following the plan you always thought made sense, and then something shifts, sometimes gradually, sometimes all at once. And suddenly you're standing in a place you never imagined being, trying something new, something uncomfortable, something that asks a lot of you. People see the moments where things look put together, but they don't see the quiet starts, the doubts, the learning curves, the mornings where you ask yourself, can I really do this?
Dani brings a really mature mindset, definitely got a drive that is quite unique to her.
How on earth do you test for that? How on earth do you try and find what skills somebody has that they don't even know about that would really lend themselves well to sailing?
At the moment, Hayden and I are campaigning towards the LA 2028 Olympics in the 470. So I was a rower. I was at the University of Tulsa in America, which was a D1 university. I went out there to study physiotherapy, but also to be a rower and be on their team.
And she was exceptional at her rowing. You don't get scholarships to American universities unless you are physically powerful and mentally you can go into that kind of pain zone.
I was doing accelerated masters, so that's why my degree was slightly longer. And in my last year, I got an injury, went for a routine surgery for my hip, and unfortunately just sort of ended my rowing career, and I wasn't able to carry on rowing on my own terms. That was cut short because of something else. And then that's when I decided to come back to the UK. So when I decided to come back from America, I knew that my degree didn't transfer over properly, so I knew that I would have to go back to university to redo my masters. So that's what I decided to do. I was in a bit of a limbo of, I really miss being an athlete, I really miss pushing myself. I didn't really do anything at a high level. I played with a local netball team, but it wasn't competitive. It wasn't what I needed to sort of help me drive and get that fulfillment. When I was there, the Crew for Gold scheme came up from British Sailing, and I looked at it and thought, oh, that's not far away, that could be fun. It could be fun to be outside again, to be back on the water, and that's, I think, what I was missing.
And obviously the one thing about Dani that really stood out was that she was really tall.
I knew that they were looking for taller and bigger girls, and I knew that I could bring that. So I thought, yeah, why not give it a shot?
So Crew for Gold was a widening of the doors. It was right, where are you in other sports? Maybe you're looking for a new challenge. Maybe you want to have a little bit of a change, but you're already big, tall, athletic, powerful, professional, and you've got a really competitive head on your shoulders.
It was a big shift compared to what I was used to in rowing. I think coming from a sport that you spent a lot of time in, you compete against the same people every year, you go to the same events, and then coming into a sport where I knew absolutely no one, I didn't know the sport, I didn't know what you were meant to do, like what was normal, what wasn't, and so it was really hard to try and figure that out all at a really fast speed whilst also trying to perform at the same time.
So the 49er FX is officially known as the women's high-performance double-hander in Olympic speak. So it's a boat which is very rewarding to sail well, but if you are just a little bit off your game, it's a boat where you go swimming an awful lot. So I first came across Dani when she had joined the Crew for Gold program. We were doing some basic learning to sail courses.
Yeah, ride it, ride it!
And it was here at Weymouth. And one back, one back.
Go on, go on, go on, go on. Full send, beast mode, beast mode. Flick. Yeah, there it is. Stand tall, stand tall, stand tall, stand tall.
She was somebody that didn't enjoy when she couldn't do something. That was probably the biggest way that I would describe her. Some of the other sailors, or potential sailors, if they couldn't do it, they'd realize, well, that's part of the process. I'm learning, I'm doing this, or they'd ask questions. Dani was somebody that had a bit of anger, impatience, but she'd clearly been able to turn those into positive things, and she was just desperate to get on and grapple with the sport as quickly as possible.
Right at the start of getting into the FX, we went out to Mar Menor in Spain for the winter, which was really great fun. It meant that we were able to spend a lot more time out on the water than we would have done in Weymouth, get a lot more experience just being in the boat in different conditions compared to what we get here in Portland. So I think that really helped to fast track me into learning those FX skills quicker than what I would have done without going.
Right then, Dani, come on now. Here we go. Yes, 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 yes. Move, move. Yes, caught at the front. Oh no. It's her hair again. Oh, nice. That was the best coming in yet. Go on, go on, go on, go on. You got it, Dani, go on. That was her best first half of a jibe yet. She nailed the in and the pull.
We'd always talked about the 470 with Dani. And Dani, very quickly, you would sort of see the skills that she wasn't getting to grips with in the FX. It's a lot of on your toes, there's a lot of dancing around, and she'd done a sport where she's sitting down in a rowing boat. And some of those skills that required that kind of coordination would frustrate her when it wouldn't come quickly. And we always thought, well, in the 470, actually, those particular skills wouldn't hamper you. And you'd probably be really good at these other kinetic, physical skills because of what you've done in rowing. So it was something that we'd always say, if you don't feel good about the FX, jump in the 470. But when you are new to sailing, that probably felt really daunting. So it was always a kind of, it was always a conversation that we had had. And then, unfortunately, I think the easiest way to say it is that basically her FX sailing, her sailing in general, had a kind of nightmare moment.
So I ended up transitioning into the 470 after being in the FS because unfortunately I sort of got into a bit of a entrapment in the FX where we were sort of sailing and we went for a capsize and the hook of my harness got caught on the shroud of the FX boat.
And then the boat capsized again.
This sort of led me to go unconscious.
Her helm is struggling to get the boat upright. She shouted as loud as she could. She got the attention of another, 2 other sailors who to manage to cut the distance over really quick, jump in the water, swim over, and all 3 of them essentially righted the boat up. And when they pulled Dani out, Dani was, essentially, if you looked at her, I think the way that it was described to me is, they thought they were pulling out, a body rather than a person. Happily, Dani came to.
Really thankful for everything that it did, because without them it could have been a completely different story.
Physically, there was incredible relief, but I can't begin to describe the impact on everybody, from management to coaches to athletes, of that close call. Mentally, it was massive. It was massive for her, and it was massive for all the sailors that were involved.
The move into the 470 from the FX was, felt very different. They're 2 very different boats. I've gone from one extreme, going in a boat that's pretty fast and you can't really control, to going into another one which is a fair bit slower and is a bit like a bathtub.
The way she described it to me was she didn't feel scared.
I think that was one thing that I was worried about, that actually, am I ever going to be able to push myself out of this fear zone to be able to achieve what I need to achieve? And going into 470, I haven't even had to think about the problems of potentially getting stuck or what will happen or anything like that, just because it is a lot slower and you don't really get flung about quite as much.
I'm Helena Lucas, a gold and bronze medalist in a 2.4 Paralympic class. I'm currently coaching the British sailing squad and British sailing team in the 470, and Dani is one of my sailors. The one that you stitched onto, is that an old sail? Because he was saying about maybe just making a little, so you can see the gauge. You can see it. Cool. But I think he's quite keen to obviously kind of move it on. But I don't want to do it in Gran Canaria. Really started working with her autumn this year, so autumn of 2025. At that point, was already kind of really impressed with how far she'd come on in such a short time. Yeah, we're very much focused on her journey and progression in the 470 class. When we go out to debate, anything specific on the course? Happy with a similar session as yesterday in terms of use your tacks wisely. You've got 4, but think about when you're gonna use them. The 470 is quite a technical boat. That's one of the beauties of the class. It's quite a skill, and it takes a lot of practice to just get the timing and everything right.
I feel like I've been able to learn a lot more about the feelings that you can feel in a boat. I think a lot of that I wasn't able to feel in the FX just because so much was going on at such a quick rate. Our sport is difficult, it's complicated, there's so many different aspects to it.
You need all these variables to sort of interplay. You need to be on the water, you need another boat, you need all these things. It's not just down to that physical power.
And most of us have been sailing since we were nippers. So for Dani to come in, and I think 2 years into her sailing career, how quickly she's picked up those skills. You know, she's not just a mechanics of sailing a boat, there's so much more to it.
Learning alongside somebody more experienced is definitely how I've been able to develop so quickly. I have to give a lot of credit to Hayden for helping to develop me into sort of the sailor I am today and to create this partnership and achieve what we have been able to do in the past year. Coming into sailing as a non-sailor and from a different sport and later on, I'm definitely always got things that I still don't come naturally to me. Simple things like where the wind's coming from. Like most of the time I wouldn't really pay attention to it when we're just talking about the weather day to day. And whenever you speak to another sailor, they always very much know where the wind's coming from, what's about to come next. So that's probably something that I'm learning. I don't think this journey's changed the way that I define myself as an athlete, but I think it's very much shown myself who I am. I think going through the whole getting trapped in the effects really showed to me like the resilience and the drive that I really have to push. And I think sometimes that's where I put pressure on myself that I'm not pushing as hard as I should be or not doing what I should. And that just sort of, I guess, showed me that you are doing well, like you are achieving what you've set out for yourself to achieve despite all the external factors that have been going on.
I think Dani shows that you can actually switch from one sport to another. And I think actually at any level, at top level, it's more about, I think, the mindset and the attitudes that really count. You know, you start in one sport and it doesn't mean because you started there, that's the sport you've got to stick with. You know, you can explore and you can switch and you can try other sports.
One of the barriers for there not being as many tall, strong females in sailing is the lack of knowledge about the sport. Before I saw the Crew for Gold being advertised, I had no idea what sailing was as a sport. Obviously I'd seen and heard of it, but I didn't really look at it as a sport for something that my physique would be good at or something that I would be sort of keen to get into. And I think it's only more recently that it's starting to become more of a well-known sport.
I think Dani shows there's opportunity and, you know, a variety out there that, you know, there's so many different sports that there's going to be a sport that hopefully, you know, that young person or that young female is going to find and excel in.
I think what keeps me driven and showing up on the hard days, just on the water, is just the internal drive I have to try and get to the games and just the overall enjoyment of it. I think from rowing I've definitely learned that as soon as you stop enjoying something, you need to figure out why and whether it's actually something you still want to be pursuing. And if the fun's always there, you're always gonna want to do it. Going into the 470 has allowed me to continue being in sailing and being able to sort of try a new boat class that I actually think probably suits me a lot better. The physicalities of it, and I've really enjoyed it so far, and I'm excited to sort of continue in it and to see what Hayden and I can do.